I think in regards to the LGBTQ and religion, this has been a conversation I've had so many times with a lot of my cousins, especially my queer cousins, about religion and family and how hard it is to navigate, your culture, values, and roles, and how it affects you by being, a second gen Latino, and a not only that, but a first generation college student and queer. All of these, the idea of intersectionality really plays a role here, because once you're first gen college student, or not even first gen college student, but you educate yourself about the LGBT community or about religion itself, you going into college, you start thinking more abstractly and as your parents, unfortunately, and you start to accept more abstract ideas, and with that comes ideas about religion and how your culture ties within, and how do they interact, and especially with what's living in the US, it has a great part of it. I was raised Catholic, and I identify as a straight Latina woman, and even then, I feel like I have a huge religion trauma regarding guilt and patriarchal ideas. And I can't imagine how it must feel like for a queer woman, for a lesbian. So, and I really appreciate Mexican culture, and I really love my culture, and a lot of it has close ties to religion. And I find myself departing from certain aspects of the religion, such as the political climate surrounding, the Christian community, because I feel like they don't allow for some inclusivity. And in the US, especially, Christian religion is very right leaning in a political stand, and we see that, what their views on when it comes to policy making, such as those that affect our institute, such as the SB 17 and that inclusion initiative in public institutions to be unattainable for the LGBTQ community and unattainable for women, and that and all of these resource centers being shut down, and it just kind of reverses everything that I, as a Latina woman, stand for, and what I believe. And that kind of right-leaning Christianity community makes these political movements, and and how tied they are, how the right wing is so closely tied to Christian values. And I see myself having a conversation with like my queer peers that are also Latinx themselves, and we kind of talk about the idea of how difficult it is to navigate your relationship with your parents because of this, because of distorted values and misplaced values when it comes to religion, and certain aspects and of the religion is kind of hard to pinpoint, and which ideas of your religion do you apply to certain policies and then don't apply to certain policies, because human rights because trans rights are human rights, LGBTQ rights are human rights, gay rights are human rights, women rights are human rights. And it becomes kind of contradicting, because we're told to live the way that Jesus is, and that is to love thy neighbor more than yourself. So believing in human rights, even if you don't identify yourself, wouldn't that be kind of a Christian value? So it's kind of hard to navigate, especially when you're arguing with your parents, and they kind of have this very simple idea, and so construct and so solid, and that it's just very hard to I feel like, as an LGBT student, to have those conversations with your parents. And I've also kind of resented the church myself for how it has made women feel, and you know, that idea of guilt, and these ideas of very patriarchal ideas, very heterosexual rules, and I can't imagine being not only a woman of color, but also a queer woman of color, and being and in the religion where, you know, you're taught to have these kind of familial obligations that now you're, you know, I can't, you know, it affects them on top of everything, and it's extremely hard to feel. I feel like it would be extremely hard to feel included, and you know, because you're kind of untraditional in the culture and in the religion, and you know, we're being taught these heterosexual ideas and expectations and in the religion. So I feel like this is a very important topic to talk about, because you know, when we talk about gay rights, you know, the first thing we think about is not going to be a woman of color. That is the last thing people are going to think about. So I feel like it's very important to talk about this, because to understand, you know, gay, Latino experiences in order to better our community as a whole, our Latino community as a whole. So this is a very important topic.